time to sit and think about how to get on stage that first few moments. And we talk about it in my class that, you have 30 seconds. You get 30 seconds to say something funny or the audience has tuned you out. And women get 10 seconds. So the first thing that you have to say has to be, I thought it had to be funny, and I think now it at least has to be disarming.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think saying like, how's it going? Or give it up for the host is just a wasted...
Yeah.
Which I still do sometimes, but when I do it, I kind of wince at myself. I'm like,
Or just the rush to the mic thing.
It's weird how time perception is different too, because when I started to be aware of this stuff, like I would like film myself and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to take a moment, like we're saying, not say anything, let them get a sense of me. And I felt like I waited a long time. And then you watch it and it's not. So it's like all those little moments, like when you're on stage, they feel longer than they do if you're just sitting out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to think you only get 3.5 or 5 minutes and you really want to be potent with your time. But then when you make the transition to doing more time, and then you kind of don't want to rush in like that, or at least a 30-minute set has like a different flow, and so you can kind of start there and then settle in a little bit. When you don't really, you want to be potent the whole time, but you really could just take a moment and say hello.
That's the best. That's like if I have any goal, it's just to get more long sets. I mean, and not even like money or fame. It's like when I get to do some long sets and like you just relax into those. Like
you got time for a story.
You find new tags, you tell a story, and it's like, man, that's just, if you could just do every weekend, do 4 or 5 hours at a club. Like, I mean, then you can really get into the cool stuff. But it's so hard at first, especially to get anybody to give you
that much time.
You got to earn that time, and then there's just all kinds of like gatekeepers and shit. It's a meritocracy, but it's also not.
Well, that's sort of the problem I'm having right now, which is there's the getting on stage and getting to do the meat of getting to perform for crowds and opportunities and the fun part, but then there's the whole rest of it, the whole rest of the business side of it and the political side of it and the social media, and you lose me. You really do. I don't have time. I don't want to do it.
I know.
You and I talked about that before too.
Yeah, it's like you got to do it now, and it's
I don't gotta do it. I don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Well, now's not a good time. I mean,
I can't. I had to admit to myself that I just don't have.
Well, yeah, you just had a baby. You shouldn't be. That's my self-talk. Is I do got to do it. So I'm trying to find some way to do it that works for me. Like like this. I really enjoy this a lot. This is like
the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast is like, whoa, I've done all these different musical and comedy things, and I just love like I'm going to do 1,000. So when I'm on my deathbed, I've had 1,000 interesting conversations with interesting people. So I build it that way where it's like, I'm not going like, nobody's watching it. Like it's for me.
They're your memories.
Yeah. And then like maybe, someday they'll blow up. Probably not though.
And even if whatever you eventually will get, if you keep at it, I feel like the shot will be there. And then when you get your opportunity, how ready will you be for it? Probably more ready because you had so many interesting conversations.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do is we try to have perspective and the words and the rhythm to make that engaging. And it's like, I think the podcast really is a space to like flex on that. Even though you're not on stage, it's almost like playing, like running scales or something will help you jam. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like working out the muscle.
Yeah,
I get that.
We're holding a mic.
I feel important.
We're doing it. Yeah. You are.
I just don't I don't have a lot of time. I have a son, and also I have him by myself now about 95% of the time. So
you got a family support and stuff?
My mom takes him one night a week for me, and he goes with his dad on Saturdays for a few hours.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
I mean,
it's not ideal, but I'm happy I have my son. So the things that I went through to get my son, I don't regret them, but it has been a really hard few years. So it's hard to like even book shows because I'm like, well, who is gonna watch him?
Sure.
And it's hard to like. It's just hard to imagine, especially because the hurricane 6 months ago just sort of upended. It upended a lot of things for me. So it's hard to think about doing comedy. I don't have a lot to say that's funny.
Yeah.
But I still force myself to go out sometimes just to, like you said, work out, get the muscle.
Yeah, and community and stuff it is hard logistically to get there, but I think just being in a group of differently minded people, it's like I come back to my like dad, career, husband thing, and I'm like, okay, that was a nice reset.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not just this guy.
Yeah. As much as I'd love to merge the worlds and maybe like breastfeed at a Shakey's show.
That would be awesome.
I thought about it.
I mean, that would be,
we would just have to start a little bit earlier.
Yeah, there's the social media clip that blows you up. Whether you want that to be.
Well, let's just say that when I do get my opportunity, and even after all this time, I believe I will get it, even though I haven't yet. And whatever, like if you were to look at my career, you might say it's dead in the water. I will get my opportunity. And when I do, I will be so ready for it that nobody will know what happened. They'll be like, who is that person? And I'll be like, yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
just getting good under the radar.
What's your what would your ideal opportunity look like if you could?
I really want one of these orange peel opening spots. Yeah. Like, I know that I already got it once before, and I had worked really hard and long for that opportunity. And a few comics have come through town since, and I've gone out for a lot of them. I haven't gotten any of them. That's fine. Nothing that is meant for you will be wrong. Like, if it's meant for you, you can't screw it up.
Yeah.
I don't remember the phrase. You can't screw up anything that is meant for you.
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten any of those opportunities. That's fine. I'm happy for people that get opportunities. But I want one of these openers to come through, and I want me to be a good fit as their opener, and then just get something. Like, they'd be like, yeah, I need a new feature, and go tour with them for a little bit. Even though I'm not really sure that could happen right now.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why it hasn't happened already, because I was supposed to have my son. Who knows? I also really want to get a book. I know there's like books in my brain, and I think like a book tour.
Yeah.
With the
you got the speaking
that I have.
Because a lot of authors are like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I got to do a book tour, and I've never held a microphone and talked to people.
I think that's really it. Like,
you got that covered.
I got to appeal to my base. I have to write more. I have to get what you're saying, more content. I know I have to do that. I just appeal to the people that would read what I have to say and come see it and come hear it and come be in that environment, because that's where I like to be, in a room with a large crowd.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't even necessarily have to be funny. It could just be powerful.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a thing where it's like, now you don't, comedy's this whole thing. There's people like
it's extra. It's ultra base.
There's people like Theo Vaughn, where I think a lot of people I hear are like, I've never watched one of his stand-up specials, or I don't think his jokes are funny, but I like watching him just be weird on his podcast. You know, I'm not saying that's how I feel, but I'm saying it's so much bigger now. Or being powerful. Like, I went to see who was it that I went to see? Shane Torres, and I saw one of my friends, and I'm like, oh, you like his comedy? And he's like, I don't know, I just like it. He just talks on the podcast, and it's not really that funny, so I just thought I'd be in a room, and I was like, whoa, it can be that now. They just like Becca Steinhoff, and they're like, she's gonna be in a room, like, we'll just spend an hour there, and then we'll get to meet her and get a picture, and it's like, there might be some laughs, but you don't have to be like 12, every 12 seconds, just like poof, poof, poof.
I guess it makes sense, though, because you want people to feel like you're friends. So if you see a comic you like, you go because you want to feel more connected to them because you like them. So you can connect to people in the same way listening. I really don't listen to podcasts. I just didn't ever.
Yeah.
I don't listen to them. I don't watch them. And I'm curious, have you met a lot of women that do?
That is so true. I mean, podcasts I think women are probably out actually having real relationships with the world.
Okay.
And men are like, I want to, be involved in a conversation, but like, I don't want to have to like.
I really do wonder.
Yeah, I think
is that a thing that only men do?
It feels like it's very male.
I don't mean to be gender binary.
No, I think you're right.
Male identifying people. Yeah, I'm not.
Like, my wife, Emily, she listens to a lot of podcasts, but it's she likes the kind that are more like, what's the NPR show? This American Life, where it's like they've edited it and they put music, and it's a real production.
Yeah.
And it's like a good, and I listen to like this. It's just an hour of like, we have no idea in 2 minutes where we'll be. It's just a long freeform jam. And it does seem like that's more male.
I think I'm like, okay, I have a hard time cluing into conversations I'm actively a part of. So
Oh, yeah.
it might be difficult for me to sit and really listen to a conversation there's no chance for me to be a part of. I don't know. I don't enjoy it, I guess. Although on long rides, Herbie and I, when we were together and he would go do road gigs, we would listen to Black Phillip. I did really enjoy listening to Patrice O'Neill.
Yeah.
But I'm listening to it and I'm like,
one of the greatest voices of all time.
yes, and also when you really are sitting and listening to him, you start to understand his ideology, and you're like, "Oh, this is
it's horrifying." Yeah, I mean,
this is what you had to do to survive, sir."
it would be so interesting to see him try to navigate now, because I mean, I think
He'd be fine.
He's a genius.
He'd be fine.
Yeah, I guess he would probably.
Vaughn still misses him. His girl still misses him.
Yeah, yeah, he probably would be doing better than ever, because half of the people would be like, let's kill him, and the other half would be like, freedom of speech or whatever, you know.
He was just about to blow up too. I mean, he really was just about to be able to get exactly what he wanted out of his career.
Yeah.
He'd been offered many other tracks that weren't exactly what he wanted,
like
to
The Office
do.
and stuff. Yeah,
The Office or Everybody Hates Chris. Like, he wanted to be what he was, and he was
Integrity.
just being allowed to be it.
Yeah.
And then the Beatles got him.
yeah, but it's a little like the Beatles or like Nirvana or something, where like even though he died young, like everything was so high quality. We never saw him do the Ozzy show where he's like, you know, lost his shit. Like, and there are a lot of bootlegs, and there's a lot of like just him, like the first, like you're saying, he would not go into material. Even on his special elephant in the room, it's like we're gonna talk.
Yeah.
And it's fucking he's just
so good.
How is it so good? I mean,
I still watch his roast set from the Charlie Sheen roast. It's one of my favorite 5 minutes of
I
comedy.
haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out.
I watch it periodically, and I don't like
It's probably the mean, because he's mean.
It's so I do miss him.
His comedy used to be meaner, I think, or at least in Asheville. Like he was kind of. I would love to see him like would he be allowed to host SNL now? Because comedy has blown up so much since he died.
I think he would be perfectly fine with whatever opportunities he was given, as long as he was allowed to be himself. Maybe he wouldn't ever host SNL or act for any extended period of time, but he was about to be able to just put out specials like he wanted to.
Yeah,
He really was.
yeah. Those bootlegs are like this one, like Tolu, where he's like asking a guy what his name is.
Oh,
the black guy. He's like Tolu.
yeah, just hearing
And he
his
just
crowd
it's just like he stopped. He's like, it's just a 5 minutes on Tolu, you know. And it's just like
there's a posthumous album they put out where he's just a live set from his the Improv, the DC Improv. I can't remember what it's called, Mr. something.
oh, Mr. P.
Mr. P.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that because I've been in the DC Improv room, and I heard Melba's laugh. Melba was the manager.
Oh,
so
that's
it was
cool.
just it felt very much like just being in the room, and it wasn't a lot of material. It was just him talking to the crowd and them just eating it up.
Yeah, I mean the laughs, you know, there's like when you start you're just trying to get laughs, and then you start like there's different laughs, and like the kind of laughs that you hear somebody like Patrice get. It's like, I mean, people are
mad.
yeah, it's like physically it's
You want to kill that bad, and you just get mad that you never have.
yeah, it's like that's not gonna be like Richard Pryor level laughs. Like there's just a tier of laughs where it's like, all right, that's not gonna be.
I have so many like comedy isms from my time with Herbie because I started comedy, and then I was dating a comic who was 10 years in when I was 1 year in.
Yeah.
So for the first 8 or 9 years of my comedy career, I had the wisdom of someone 10 years my senior.
Yeah.
And he just loved Patrice, and he had like a bunch of different little like isms and quotes and mantras, and I'm sure some of them stem from Patrice. There's so many good ones though.
It's like integrity. He's just like, I don't fucking water anything down that I ever do. That's when I think of Patrice and his face. I'm just like, it's
what I think of.
And he still made it to like.
There's like a Montreal set he did or something where he's like on stage, and then he kind of looks around and he goes, "This crowd stinks." He just keeps going.
Yeah. And like, you're not supposed to do that, but when Patrice does it, I think everybody likes it because they're like, well. What are you going to do? I mean,
it's the mantra that actually really helped me about bombing, where Patrice was like, if I'm going down, I'm taking the whole ship down with me. I'm not going down by myself. We're all going down.
Yeah, there's one time where he was like, if somebody starts heckling and ruining the show, it's like, I'm going to be mean to the rest of you. You're allowing this person to ruin our relationship? Like, I'm not even going to fuck with the heckler. I'm going to punish the rest of you for letting him fuck with me.
I guess what's fun about him is that even though he's dead, he's unflappable. Like, on stage, he is unflappable. And I think when you're an audience member, you do sort of sometimes want the train wreck. Especially you sometimes wonder what would happen if the comic just didn't know what to do in a situation. And you kind of want to see that.
That's why open mics can be fun, because you're going to see some of that.
You know what when I'm hosting, I always say, if you don't like it, wait 5 minutes. If you're new to the mic, wait 5 comics you don't like in a row before you leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's rules. You got to wait. I promise it'll be worth it until it's not, and then you can go. Yeah. But yeah, he wouldn't, there's nothing that could happen that would throw him off. So audiences could feel a little safe knowing that it doesn't matter. We could throw something at him and he'll take it. Like Brian Regan is the same way.
Yeah.
Unflappable.
Just like,
cannot be flapped.
Just a veteran, just a pro driving the bus. Like, there's a swamp and a hurricane, but we're going to make it through. Yeah. Like, one thing that's come up on here a few times, like Patrice saying that, he wants like 20% of the room to hate him. There's like, if everyone likes you, you're not going to get those laughs we're talking about. Like the tension of having there be like a few tables that are just furious at you, and then next to them, somebody's loving it. Like that's kind of the room that he wants.
Force people to laugh at things that they disagree with.
Yeah.
I used to feel like I didn't want to tell jokes to people that I knew were going to be in disagreement or frustration with what I was saying.
Yeah.
I didn't think they deserved to laugh, and I actually still believe that. But I'm willing to try if they are forced to listen and potentially laugh at something that I know they don't agree with.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, I think that's like, I mean, I
want you to hear it.
I try not to be divisive, even though I do have divisive opinions inside me. Like my dream is to be able to have like the left and the right in the room and do those topics in a way where both sides are laughing. Like even if I don't agree with you, like there's something healing about laughing at somebody you don't agree with is talking about the thing you don't agree with, but they do it in a way where it's like it shits on them, it shits on you, and we all kind of can laugh at ourselves.
It's a tightrope.
Yeah.
It is. But I guess we have to go back to, what do we want out of an audience? Do we want an audience to like us, or do we want to feel like ourselves?
Yeah.
Because for me, and this is another thing I talk about like when I'm doing my class. So I'm kind of
I want both, by the way.
I'm sorry?
I want both, by the way.
Both what?
You
want to be liked and you want to be yours. That's what I'm talking about. There's only 4 ways that a show can go, right? There's it went well or it didn't go well. And then if it doesn't go well, but I'm not myself, then
double bad.
I can't feel that bad. Why would they like it? It wasn't me. What would I expect them to like about something that wasn't me?
I see, yeah.
And if it doesn't
you betrayed yourself.
Right.
So,
but if it doesn't go well, but I was myself, I can walk off stage feeling a little bit better, like they didn't like me, but they met me.
Yeah, and I stayed true.
Right. I feel that hurt. I'm not going to say it didn't hurt, but at least I was authentic in that, whatever. Then there's, it went well. Let's say it went well, but I wasn't myself. I'm going to walk off stage feeling like a little dirty.
That's the worst of all 3.
A little dirty.
That pathway of like,
And then the ideal 4, they liked it and I was myself. So if there's really only those 4 ways that it can go. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like,
then every show feels all right.
I can see the visual diagram of it, It's like a quadrants or something.
It's
maybe?
A chart. It's like it's an MLM.
Yeah. What's an MLM?
Multi-level marketing.
Okay, yeah.
It's a pyramid scheme where in the end I feel good about myself no matter what happens after a show.
Well, there's that one where you betray yourself and they hate you and you're like, but you got to have, I think you got to have some of that too. That's like getting into like having an older kid too. It's like, get in there, and it's okay to have not been true to yourself and felt that shame, as long as you use that information next time to not make the same mistake.
Yeah.
It's when you keep lying to yourself in the same way or making the same mistakes, it becomes problematic.
I think you're describing the first 10 years of comedy.
Yeah, right?
I walked off stage so many times thinking I am better than what I'm putting out here right now. I know that I'm better than this, but I don't know how to be any better than this. Until
die. You just gotta die a million times. Ego death.
Thank God for this death. It's the learning. The learning process.
Does it feel like death to you? That might be my language, but like ego death or just like public humiliation. Like, I mean,
it depends on if I have to ride home in a car with someone that did well or not. If they did well and I didn't, I'm just like,
you went up there, I went up there. Let's get some cookout.
But no, yeah, I don't know. Like, you learn more from a bad set than a good one. So I think I just take my licks and I go, what can I learn from this experience? Why didn't that work? That normally works.
Yeah.
Why didn't that work? And then I voice record everything, so I'm able to listen back, even though listening back to the sets that aren't good is harder by a lot. But I like listen in and I go, oh, that's why it didn't work, because I screwed up that line, or oh, because the thing before it didn't work, so they weren't primed for that yet. Like, it's kind of nice to be able to go back through and think why something didn't work. Yeah. Even more fun to listen back and go, that should have worked.
Yeah, because you listen back to your sets, right?
I listen back to everything.
Yeah, I like that. I don't as much as I should. I do record them all, but then sometimes it's just too hard. But
if it didn't go well, it's harder to listen to.
Oh yeah, I know. And you're like, it went bad, and then you're listening, and you're like, it was even worse than I thought.
That happens with good sets too. You'll be like, that went good.
Oh,
and
those are the scariest ones.
It's Wait a minute, I remembered it different. I actually listened to one from last week where I thought it went great, and I went and listened back through it a few times. I hear someone in the audience going, "No."
I just blocked them out.
I really didn't hear that no at the time or for the first 6 times.
That's the worst. That's the scariest time to listen. Is like you had the most amazing set and your camera's sitting there and you're like, I already feel a 10 out of 10. There's nothing this camera can do that'll make me feel better. I mean, I can learn from it long term.
I don't video record anything. I feel like for me, video recording is the invitation for it to not go as well as it could have otherwise. I don't know what that is. It's fear. I'm sure it's
fear. You got to push through the first, like, because I know I used to be like, I'm going to film my set, and then people see you setting up your camera, and you're like, you get in your head about it. But it's like anything else. After you set up the camera like a dozen times, it just becomes part of your. So now I'm like, this is going to be horrible, and there's not even a good place to put my camera, but I'm going to do it just because I fucking don't think about that. I just do it every time, and it's one of my rules. But I mean, you don't have to do it.
I'm
that
grateful.
Was more for like the reels and stuff. And honestly, I've felt like recently people don't want to see reels of stand-up because the whole feed is horrible stand-up. It's like my first time on open mic, so things like this maybe are better for.
I also am getting
reels.
To a place where. At what point does doing stand-up comedy mean that we have to address what's happening? Like, I feel as though
in the world,
yes,
yeah.
I feel as though we're walking around telling dick jokes and it's not
in the eye of a horrible.
It doesn't feel good. It feels distractionary. Like, we're supposed to be the ones speaking truth to power, and instead we're like jesters, and I don't love that feeling. I don't love that I'm like afraid to speak on truth because of what might happen. I don't think it's funny, but I feel like I don't know, at what point do we have like a responsibility to do that?
Yeah, I feel that for sure. I mean, for me, I think my ideal show is like there's both. Like I do want somebody to get up and talk about the real shit, but then I also might like some Mitch Hedberg dude being like, candy bars sure are silly. Like, it's kind of like it can be both, you know? Like,
yeah.
Like, I respect the hell out of people that like take a stand and make points, but I don't think that's really my lane. You know what I mean?
I understand that, and I think that's sort of a function of comedy. Like, you don't go to a comedy club on a Friday night or get a sitter to be reminded of the things you don't want to think about.
Yeah.
I get that. There's the entertainment, and then there's the message. And so,
unless you bought the ticket with that person's name on it because you knew
their
their brand, and you were like, I do want to.
Well, that's a luxury to be able to speak directly to your base.
Oh man, I don't know what that's like, but like a base, people are like, oh,
it has its own challenges.
Ryan Cox is here. We already know who he is.
Let's watch him work out some new stuff and be disappointed.
Yeah,
that comes with its own challenges.
Yeah, that's true.
It does. Jerry Seinfeld can't just drop in and write some new jokes. It's Jerry Seinfeld.
That's true.
You have your own problems there, but
that's what's great about being at this level. We don't have those problems.
No one cares.
No one knows who you are. Every time, everyone's like,
that's why I guess I have a hard time with egos, because then I'm like, if there's an ego, it's just a bad habit ultimately, and that's fine. Have your bad habit. Bad habits ultimately don't serve anybody. But like, we're all in the same room together doing the same thing right now, so there's no hierarchy. There's so little as owed to us because nothing is required of us but to show up and tell some jokes.
Yeah.
That's one of the
So
the
simple
isms.
in a way.
It's one of the isms.
But,
So
but then it's the hardest thing ever to do. It's weird.
God, I want to go up early. Can I ask someone? Do you think that they'll let me go up early? I want to go 7th.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go first, absolutely.
I want to go 7th.
You want to go 1, 2, or 3?
You know where else I'd like to go?
Once you get to
Clean up.
4.
Can you make me clean up after something? I love cleaning up.
You don't like following somebody that just murdered the
I
room?
love playing cleanup, and no, it's so I don't know. That's a luxurious place to be as well. Like, oh, we know that you'll clean this up.
Yeah.
I could not show up for 6 months. I show up, and they're like, we're gonna put you up after the guy that jokes about dog farts. Cool, thanks.
Because they're definitely going to leave if another person does dog farts.
You said dog farts. You didn't say anything about raping dog farts. You didn't tell me the whole story.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, that's shocking. I don't know how like aware of like Kill Tony and stuff you've been, but that's like, yeah.
You get 1 minute. You can get 1 minute to do whatever. I get it.
Which is interesting. It's that thing you're talking about with the 30 seconds or like it's just that.
You really don't need more than a minute.
Yeah.
I like the minute thing, but then you got everybody sitting there judging, and also you have it through Tony Hinchcliffe's eyes. I do think he's very funny, but the whole thing is problematic.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's entire types of comedy based on bad habits, quite frankly. Which is what I was talking about earlier. Like, just get me into a room with a lot of people and like let's do the job. Like, all this other stuff is. It's interesting.
Frivolous.
It's cool. I don't want to say frivolous. I mean, it's all got
bullshit
merit, but I just think like just show me what you can do with a crowd. There's really no way around that.
I think like when I started comedy and like just 10 years ago, it was a little bit like this one thing, and now it's like taken over the culture. There's so many, like there's the Kill Tony, there's like Bargatze's like just murdering these giant clean arenas, and it's kind of like become like music where it's like, you're not like, do you like music? I like music. He doesn't like music. It's like, do you like Norwegian folk death metal? Like comedy is starting to be like, there's so many subgenres. Yeah, so like the Kill Tony, I've just noticed being at mics that like the young white bros are all doing Kill Tony like material, like that's like I don't even really watch Kill Tony, but I can feel its influence through the post-COVID dudes.
It's not just a Kill Tony thing, it's also a roast thing. And I think maybe that's another thing where you want to feel part of a conversation, where you don't just want material to be thrown at you and you can tell that's what it is. So there is like a written for this particular thing vibe to roasts that are cool, just inherently mean-spirited. And I don't especially enjoy roasts. I've only won one, and it's because the other dude lost. He just didn't write enough material. And then I lost to like someone who like just made fun of how fat I was.
Do you mean like people you know really well, or just like a random roast battle?
I was paired. It was in DC, so I was like in a bracket, and I knew who I would face if I won, or I knew that.
Yeah. Because I like them if it's like
I didn't know them all.
Somebody's leaving town, or it's like it's like out of love. Like I do really like
Toasts.
people like
That's what I do when I do roasts.
Friars. It's like I'm not gonna roast you if I actually don't like you or don't know you. But like if I'm gonna sit down and try to write a thoughtful, mean joke, it's because I really do love you. We've had history together. We've done shows.
Yeah.
And then I'm still gonna be scared that you're gonna hate me afterwards. But
yeah,
it can be fun to.
I think it came up once. Herbie and I were offered to do a roast of each other. Like as a a couple's roast thing.
Yeah.
And like we would have roasted each other and the winner would have advanced to the next round and then roasted some other winner of some other couple. And I was like, I think that sounds like just a really bad idea for us right now. We're already kind of on the rocks, and then this would,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna roast my wife on stage. Good Lord, like I'm trying to keep that shit good. But I do like the. I was talking to Ryan.
I can't be mean enough to do roasts. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I do think if I got a spot on Kill Tony, that'd be good. But opportunities are just that. If you only have 5 minutes and you do one of them on Kill Tony, and you only have 4 more minutes after that, doing well on Kill Tony isn't going to do much for you.
Yeah,
it's what longevity do you have to offer that? What are you going to do with your opportunity once you get it?
Yeah, and that's why I think like doing the long slow game is better too, because you have. If you like get opportunities, 15, 20 years in, you've got this body of work and all this material and experience behind you, you're ready for it. Whereas if you blow up overnight as an influencer, And like I did a show opening for a lady in Tennessee last year, and there was like always people there, and she's like, "I've been doing stand up like 8 months,
Right?
I'm freaking out." And it's like, but she actually did great because they loved her,
Right?
And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. They were like, "It's her. We'll get a picture afterwards." And I was like, "Fuck, she didn't even really need jokes."
They say that you only get opportunities 2 times in stand up: when you're under ready or when you're over ready. So people that get them when
so bleak.
I'm yeah. Well, have you ever heard Ron White talk about it? He's like, I was doing comedy 20 years, couldn't get a date in my home club. 21 years, I couldn't get dates to fill my calendar. 22 years, I'm contemplating suicide. 23 years, I'm on the road with the blue comedy.
Hell yeah.
It's just you just never know. I cling to that.
I love
quote.
Ron White. I love his quotes. He's got one where he's like, "When you're killing, slow down. when you're bombing,
speed up.
Slow down."
Slow down. He is so funny.
Yeah.
God, I love that.
I mean, he does it in like a way where I don't usually like it when people are like, "And these fucking idiots over here didn't realize I was right." That's like my least favorite. But when he does it, I'm like, it just sounds great. I don't know.
So they say you gotta love him or love to hate him. You can't just hate him.
Yeah.
So if you love to hate him,
yeah,
then you love to hate him.
I mean, I love him. I think he's just
that's the Jesselnick. You love to hate him.
Yeah. I love Jesselnick too. Yeah.
Do you?
I mean, I think that I don't want there to be another one, but I think one guy that is the villain, and does those short jokes that it's kind of like we were saying about some people are making points and other people are like, what he says isn't even true. It's a false, short, dark joke. It's kind of like Stephen Wright or Mitch Hedberg. There's always different ways to do it. And my ideal show is like it's 4 comics that are totally different voices. Mm-hmm. No, like it was one political person. There's one-liner, storyteller, whatever. Variety is what makes the show great.
I would like that, but I also think audiences get fatigued with too many different types of things in one show, which is why scientifically a show shouldn't last more than 90 minutes.
75 if there's not like a big
if you're doing
headliner.
What you're talking about with 5 or 6 75 minutes would be 15 minutes of 5 people doing 15. That sounds good. That 6 person would have a really hard time.
You got to get it down to 10 at that point. You got to start giving people 10 to 12.
Yeah, but then I don't even I see a poster with 5 photos on it and I'm like, someone doesn't know what they're doing. It just feels like too many people.
It does. Yeah, it's like
it feels like they're gonna add a few more when you get there.
Yeah. And then when you headline those shows, it's like, oh boy,
I've done that.
The
so
whole
many
scene
times.
is doing 2 hours of comedy, and then I'm gonna go up at the end when everybody's completely done. They hate comedy before you get up there.
Have you ever had to get up at the end of a long show and be like, what have we learned today? You can't really just start. You have to show you've been listening or else the audience doesn't like you as much.
Yeah.
If you've been standing outside, well, they just had to sit through that much and then you get up there and you go, so who's single? And they've already done it all. Oh man, wow, we've learned a lot. I learned about that dude's penis. I learned about this guy. You gotta say
I was here
recap.
too.
Yeah.
And we've all been here too long, including me.
And so now I'm going to try to
just and then you do try to keep them as long as you can because you're like, I drove 4 hours, motherfuckers. I'm trying to.
I'm not going to keep you long. I just want to tell you a little bit about my appendectomy. Just a few things. And then a few more things about my appendectomy. You have to kill it. You have to bring so much at that point that there's really just do it and get paid and go home.
Like we were talking about wanting to get longer sets, and a lot of times the longer sets are. It's like I wanted my 30 to be 60 to 90. I didn't want it to be 2 hours to 2.5 hours. It needs to be.
And I have another type of problem. I have an interesting problem where since I've been doing it a long time, but no one really knows me. I can get gigs, I can get feature spots pretty easily. Unfortunately, even though that's the amount of time I really feel comfortable doing is feature length, I tend to be stronger than the people that have to go after me. And I'm not doing that to be shitty, and I'm not saying it to be egotistical. What I'm saying is I will do 15 or 20 solid minutes. Someone will go up after me, not do as well, and guess who gets in trouble for that? Not the person that didn't do well. I get punished for that because they booked their show thinking that there was what it was going to be was correct, which isn't to say that it was incorrect.
Who says something? Is it the headliner? Or
no one says anything. It's
the venue's like, whoa.
No one says anything.
That closer was a little too strong there, buddy.
It's just obvious. Like, I do okay, or maybe I say something that pings some of the audience in a way that they don't like, because I'm not afraid of what I have to say.
Yeah.
Then the headliner can't follow, and it's not good, and it's long, and it's not good. It's very obvious, and then I never get asked back. That's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
And I get it. I'm supposed to, like, do what I'm supposed to do and go. I'm not doing anything wrong, though. It's just what ends up happening sometimes.
Yeah. It can go wrong so many different ways.
Oh, yeah. There's really only a few ways that it goes
I
right.
know, right? Like you think back on all the shows that, like, just were like, that was perfect.
One time I was in Raleigh doing a 30-minute set at the Dangling Loafer, and I was about 25 minutes into a headlining 30-minute set, and this lady was just talking. She was just ruining it, and I was like, ma'am, I have 5 minutes left. I realize no one's ever told you no before, but I need you to stop talking. I don't want to sleep with you. There's nothing I want from you, sir. Sir, can you tell? It just sucked. Like, it feels not good to do that.
I mean, that's when the venue should be on your side. But, I mean, I do all kinds of, like, hey, it's the bookstore, brewery, whatever. So it's like there's not somebody that's like, no, a comedy club. It's like, okay, we know that, like,
it's susceptible to happening, though. It's not. It's susceptible to happening because I'm not keeping this woman's attention.
Yeah.
So it's on me, really. I mean, for them to just kick her out or whatever.
But she's being loud and disruptive. I mean, I think it was like Sean Patton. That was like one of his favorite comedy clubs. He's like, they just, before you get up, they're like, we want this to be great for you. We want to support you doing your art. So if a table's giving you trouble, you just be like, another round of Diet Cokes for this table. And that signals us to be like, get them the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And it's so seldom. I mean, it's so seldom. A lot of the shows I'll do are like, it's our first show at this place. So they don't even.
Stand-up is the least respected art form.
But then again, it's like, what if you did come out of the gate and you just had these dialed in perfect rooms that were courteous? You wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
There's already too many people doing it. You need it to be just like,
you gotta be
fucking horrible,
unflappable.
Yeah,
you have to go do. Yeah, but just because you're good at those things doesn't mean you want to subject yourself to them after a while.
Yeah,
after a while, you're like, I don't think I need.
Yeah,
this.
I have written a bunch of things that I'd like to be able to try.
My material is very eyes up front mentality. So if there's not a dedicated show space, if there's not like a way to denote. So rarely are conditions ideal. You should be able to walk into any room and do your material at any order of the show. You should be able to do that. And that's great if you can say that you can do that. But at a certain point, you just don't want to have to do that stuff anymore. And you don't have to. No one's making you do those things. Yeah. They're always going to be there.
Yeah.
They're always going to be there. Yeah. But like you walk into a room where you're like kind of excited and like the TVs are still on, there's people playing pool, and you realize you're about to perform guerrilla comedy terrorism on a group of unsuspecting fishmongers. That just like makes your heart sink. It really does.
Yeah.
What am I going to talk about with the fishmongers? I wonder if they want to hear about the hurricane.
Yeah, there is a certain amount of like years, reps, miles where you're like, am I still having to do this shit? I mean, I think in your first years, you should absolutely be required to do that. Or if you never experience that, you're going to be like a weaker comic somehow. But there is a point where like you're like, yeah, I've been doing it long enough to where I don't really want to do the fishmongering set.
I don't really want to do any more sets at the fish hatchery at the wharf.
Let's just say Root Bar. We don't have to.
I never actually went to the Root
Oh, really?
Bar.
It's like 5 minutes down the road, so I would go there, and then I figured out how to turn the TV off eventually.
Oh,
you
just
actually walk over there and just like it was like right by the stage and be like, all right.
Yeah, I do miss it. I have my mom watch my son on Tuesday night so that I can go to the Odd.
Yeah,
I want to go to the Disclaimer, but I don't. I've said this for years. That's not an open mic. It is and it isn't. That's a showcase.
Yeah,
it should be treated as such. I would never bring anything I was saying for the first time to that show. Because it's not a mic. It's where I would go to try the new stuff I'm excited about that I've been working on.
Yeah, I think the Odd before music hall, they're actually perfect 2 nights in a row because you go, blah, it's the Odd version. And you're like, all right, there's that, and I'll punch that up, and then music hall next night.
Man, it'd be great if there was like, if I had all the time and ability in the world, just 2 a night, like in New York was great like that. Yeah. You could hit a 4 o'clock, a 6 o'clock, an 8 o'clock, and if you really wanted to, you could find a 10 o'clock.
But are they good? Because if it's
good.
if it's just comics in a room, like I don't want it. I don't want to do
nothing
mics
is
for only comics.
It's not good.
But
because
that makes me. keep going. I gotta.
Oh, okay.
Turn the fan on now.
Oh, you're getting hot.
Overheated.
What? Oh, the camera overheated. Yeah. I want to tell you. Can I tell you a quick story about? Oh, you're gonna do it again.
Go for it. We ready.
That was so technical.
It makes it so much easier later.
To sync it. No, totally. Okay, I've mentioned this a few times because I lived in New York. We had just come from DC. Herbie and I moved to New York, and I had received some notoriety in DC, and people joke in DC about comics. When comics move to New York, they don't move to New York. They just get an apartment 3.5 hours from DC because it's so unfun moving to New York that you end up going back to DC to get shows all the time just because that's where you're offered good shows. It's never fun. Those 60 dead-eyed comics in New York, you get 2.5 minutes. You wait the whole time. It's never fun, but you get better and you don't know it until you leave.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I had been living in New York for a year, and I had just been doing 2.5 minutes at a time at the Creek and other mics that I had gone to. And I got offered a gig in Newark from someone that knew me from here, from the festival. And it was like a 15-minute spot, and I, schlepped to Newark, which was never fun, just to go anywhere. And it's like a crowd. It's like 75 people. And I sit there, and I'm like, oh no, I have a problem. Like, I don't know if any of this stuff works for people.
These aren't just jaded comics. These are regular people.
This is just a crowd. And I realized it didn't really dawn on me until I had another crowd that I hadn't seen a crowd in over a year.
Yeah.
And so I had a choice to make in that moment. Do I do the jokes that I knew were the last jokes I knew to work for a crowd, which I hadn't done in a year? Or do I hobble together 15 minutes out of the 2.5 minutes that I've been putting together at a time?
You gotta be true to yourself there, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not though. Maybe if
what would you do?
I think that that's a predicament, but I think there is this rule where it's like, if I have like a new 10 that I'm like really excited about, it's all I want to do right now. But if I'm going like 4 hours away to a club where I want to make a good impression and have a long-term relationship, I might only like do half of it and then sandwich it. You know what I mean? So there is is this room a place where I need to do as good as possible? Mm-hmm. But then sometimes you'll, and this is what I hate the most, is you'll be like, I need to like murder tonight, so I'll do my old tried and true stuff. But then you realize that stuff, you're not as excited about it.
And then you're already two in your head.
Yeah.
You've already fucked up.
And you're like, fuck, like I at least should bomb doing like being my true self.
Yeah.
Saying where I'm at in my life right now, not like saying something that happened 2 years ago and pretending it was yesterday.
Right. It's a hard call. And as a general policy, I don't write a set until I'm in the room.
Yeah.
The more I think about it before I get in the room, the more useless it is and the more rigid I am to change it. I like to get there early. People like joke at me about it. Like, oh, are you leaving? I'm like, I am leaving early.
You did show up to the podcast on time early.
I did, yes.
I like that.
Yes. I was either 5 minutes early or 30 minutes late. So I really tried to make it early.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You
can I love that though, not writing the set, because I've had that realization too. I don't think I've ever heard somebody else say that, but like, write the set list in the room. That you're in the room.
Yeah.
You're in what it's going to be.
I'm talking to this particular group of people. So this is the set, and it's probably going to be the things I know but like I have a set where like I want to tell a joke about this thing, and I kind of look at the crowd and I go, I don't think they're going to like that one. Not to say that I'm like altering or editing myself. I'm more thinking I want to tell these people the things that they're going to enjoy, and I have a large group of material to draw from. Although I think, I throw out my stuff a lot as well. So we can talk about that too. But in that moment, I think I did and I'd like to be able to have the forethought to go, okay, if they go for this and this and this, then then I'll go to the old stuff. But if that's not working, then I'll keep on. And I want to be able to say there's a fork in the road in my brain. But the reality is, if you don't want to look at your notes, you're really just drawing from what you can remember.
Yeah.
So I didn't really immediately remember old stuff at that point, and I think it went really well. Like, it went better than I was expecting, which is how New York makes you better.
Yeah.
You get tight at 2.5 minutes for jokes. If you have a 2.5 minute set and it gets one laugh out of a comic that's just waiting to go up, it might actually be something.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah.
The audience really liked it, and I was really excited about that. Like, it went better than I would have expected. But I don't trust Asheville crowds. Sometimes if I was really able to go out, I would I'll go to Greenville just to see if the stuff works in Greenville.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't know.
It's so different in any direction, 10 miles.
Exactly.
It's just like, oh, okay, psychedelics not such a laughing matter out 10 miles away.
Nobody wants to hear that my weed chunk, my 10-minute weed chunk down here in Christville.
There's a weed store across the street from this place, but...
Oh, you guys more into that Delta 8? Okay. Yeah. All
right. I can sub out some words. We can salvage this.
I remember you and I had a conversation at one of those outdoor post-COVID shows where you were asking me about, like, so you just threw it all out because you were trying to figure out what to do, like, because COVID changed reality.
Yeah.
And you were like, so you're not doing anything from before? And I was like, no. And I think you were sort of deciding what to do.
Yeah. Like on shows, yeah. And I'm in a place now where I taped something a couple months ago, so I'm really done with all of that, which is nice because that's like there are some ones I wanted to get like my Kmart. It's like my songs. I like put out an album, you know. So it's like there are these old jokes I've been telling that now I'm really done with them. So that's kind of nice. There's a timestamp on them and they're done. And then I want the next material to be more weirdly, uniquely me. You know, like each thing you put out should be more like your first jokes are kind of like kids and like general stuff. So it's like trying to find those weird thoughts that only I have. And be like, could I actually make a room of people know what the fuck I'm talking about and laugh?
Yeah.
Like
I love that. When you learn how to be funny, you're really just trying to be competent on stage at first. And then when you actually figure out how to say things, then you can sit and think about what you'd like to say.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because you can see sometimes people figure out what they want to say first, but then they need to sit and figure out how to say it. Some people have the message and they don't know how to say it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I still just go like, oh, somebody laughed at that in my everyday life, and I'll write it down. So it still comes from like a laugh. Like I've never been like, what do I want to talk about?
That's how I do it too. You listen in your daily life. You keep your ears open, soft and humorous.
But then it does end up happening is you'll be like, oh, I had 3 things that were laughs, and I just wrote them down because they were laughs. But I do see that we're kind of talking about like how technology might be alienating us from. So it does like the themes do kind of emerge, but it's almost like accidental or from the subconscious. Like it's like songwriting. I think you sit down and you just start making sounds.
Yeah.
And then a year later, you're like, I was writing about that relationship that was about to end. So literally, but sometimes you can kind of trust in the muse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, where do jokes come from? They just appear.
Yeah.
That is true. It takes a while. I used to watch Herbie. He would have an idea, and then it would be done and fully formed in his head immediately. And then I know because he's in this notebook writing it out, and it's done. And he never needed any help. He would just do it. And I'd be like, how do you do that? How do jokes just get written in your head like that? But I think it comes from years of joke writing.
Yeah.
It just, at a certain point, it does just click.
Yeah.
And I used to get mad at him because he would do that to my jokes. And I used to bring him jokes that weren't fully formed. I didn't know how to fully form a joke in my head. So I would bring him the premise or the piece of a bit, and he would fix it. And then I'd be like, I was working on that. If you keep doing that, then I'll never learn how to do it for myself, which is wrong. Watching him do that helped me figure out how to do it. I just didn't. You just can't say when it's going to happen.
It's all just kind of going in there.
Yeah. I watched what he did. I learned. I synthesized, and then one day it just clicked. I don't even know what day it was. And I feel like that sounds arrogant too, but it's not. It's just like, oh, I see a misdirect in there, and you write it down. You learn to call it for what it is.
Yeah, a lot of times when you're like in the trenches growing, like, yeah, you don't, like when I was in school doing music, I would just like practice every day and play, and I felt like a fraud. Like it never felt, I was like, I'm getting worse, but I was actually just getting like more heightenedly critical. And then like after I got out and years passed and I didn't do that, I was like, whoa, that leveled up so much from doing all that. But while you're in it, it can feel like you're not. It kind of sounds to me like you're saying that, like all the New York 2.5 minute sets and that. But then looking back, you're like, oh, that shit did.
It really did.
Help me.
Yeah, and I had to go through all of that to get where I was. We're to the point now where that's really what I want on stage is to be myself. I don't want there to be a difference.
And it's what they want too. Like that's what the universe wants from you is for you to be yourself. That's like a thing I've kind of just realized. Like I don't have to apologize. Like people want you to be yourself.
Authenticity and vulnerability will endear you to audiences regardless of what you are saying.
Yeah.
That's what brings us back to like, oh, I'm saying things they disagree with. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm being authentic and I'm being vulnerable. You don't have to agree.
And you can still be respectful. I think you can still be like, I'm authentically saying what you don't agree with, but I respect you. I'm not being like, you idiots, listen up to my truth. There's a way to do it. I mean, sometimes you can be Ron White and be like, you idiots, listen up, and it is hilarious too.
Yeah.
It just depends on like how much they...
I just think my leanings become clear as I keep talking. I don't think I need to express my leanings for them to then be kind of obvious. And then if I'm talking to someone that I disagree with, that's fine. We're just going to bring my authentic and vulnerable self to this conversation where I have the microphone and you don't. And I'm about to ask some questions that are going to reveal you a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't love doing that.
They figure out who you are. They're just like, hemp. That's how...
Hemp. Yeah.
that sounds...
Yeah. Were you there the night that fight broke out in Waynesville?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, I didn't. I think I did like the month before. I heard about that.
I was there.
Yeah.
And then I went back and talked to them about it because I was the only one that hadn't gotten on stage yet after that happened.
You didn't get to go up?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
You had to go clean that up.
I did.
They were like, this isn't the kind of cleanup.
I'm going to tell you a little secret, though. The cleanup of that is easy. All I have to be is not what just happened. All I have to do is cleanse us of what just happened. And I didn't do any jokes. I just was like, I was actually kind of in awe of Waynesville that night because that fight broke out because of the Trumpers. And then I was like, these racists were talking. It was just like this one table of racist Trump supporters. And I don't want to necessarily anger your base or whatever, but they ended up getting kicked out and turned on by the rest of the room. Then I went back and did the show a few months after that. And then I asked if anybody in the room was there for that. And there were a lot of people that were like, yeah, we were there that night. And I'm like, that's cool because a lot of y'all were pretty cool that night. Yeah. And then I had to explain what happened to the people that weren't there. I'm like, yeah, there was this table of Trumpers and there was this table of racists. And then this one lady that was at the show that night goes, not racists, Trumpers. And she insisted that I separate them. And that just turns into...
I don't think all Trump supporters. I've never voted for Trump, never will, but I don't think they're all racist.
I don't necessarily either, but I would swear there's some. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some overlap. But
this woman insisted that I separate
that's
them.
where the left gets into trouble is when you start being like they're all racist, and then there are people like I don't like being called a racist, so now I'm staunchly more against progressive social reform.
I couldn't agree more. I think if there's one way to really shut down a conversation, it's to point a finger and say, that's racist.
Yeah.
You're a racist.
Yeah.
There's a way to call racism out without saying it. In this particular case...
Is there ever a situation where somebody's like, yeah, I'm fucking racist? Like, is it? It probably is, but I feel like it's like nobody thinks they are, you know? Like,
well, that's the function.
That's kind of the weird thing about it, where it's like we all think we're not racist, but we're all a little bit racist.
I'm willing to admit that I'm racist, but I think that if we start down that rabbit hole of a conversation, we should start a different episode.
We got to do another episode.
I could go. I've had some anti-racism training, so I'm definitely not uncomfortable speaking about it, but that does sort of take the wind out of their sails. Maybe that's where, because like I do believe that we're all racist in this country. So when I say, oh, there was this racist people and they were also Trumpers, she's actually probably right. I should separate them.
I mean, I think racism is a spectrum like everything else, and I think there's no one alive that's 0% racist. I think that it's kind of like in the past it was like we're over here and they're over here, and now it's like, you know, a horrible thing. But
white supremacy is in the collective unconscious. Yeah. Whether or not you consciously would say you're racist,
it's in the collective, like out in the public conscious, not right now too.
Right. It's publicly, and it's in the public consciousness, and it's in a collective unconsciousness. And if you believe in the collective unconscious, and you believe that white supremacy or that racism is in the collective unconsciousness, then you also acknowledge that it would take as much time as it's been in there to undo it. So that's
we have that long.
That's black ethno. That's a theory. I did not write that.
No, it sounds true.
Afro-pessimism. That's called Afro-pessimism. So I can't take credit for that. But yeah, like it's in the collective unconscious, and it would take as many thousands of years as it's been in it to get us out of it. So yeah, racism is inherent in our culture.
And to me, that sounds progressive and true. It's being like, no, I'm not. That sounds more like
keeping an arm's length between you and your racism.
Yeah, right. You know, so to me that sounds like a nice idea to be able to be like, instead of being like racist, be like, You know, there's probably a little bit in my heart too, and I would like there to be less by the time I die. That's a bad thing.
I think there's a moment where if you're being accused of racism, that because we believe in a meritocracy and that good things happen to good people, or we deserve the things that happen to us, when we say you're racist or that's racist, you're hearing me say to you, you're a bad person. That is not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's a racism. I do them all the time. I'm just pointing it out to you because I love you and I care about you, or I don't know you at all. But that's vile in your heart. And I'm not even going to get to that point with somebody. I don't even really, we're white. We prioritize white comfort all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was trying to start a race dialogue in that conversation with this lady. I just think it's interesting how it's so difficult to have real talk conversations about that. That's again a whole other because
we still benefit from it every day. So it's hard to. Mm-hmm. It's so complicated. I don't know. If you don't want to stay on racism...
Oh, no, it's not
we
that.
We can.
What I was going to say is that it takes the wind out of their sails when they go, I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm not racist. And I go, I'm not a Trump supporter, and I am racist.
Well, I like that. Yeah.
I am racist.
Right, okay.
I believe I'm racist.
So in a sense, back to the original thing, I guess I would say that all Trump supporters are racist.
All Americans.
And so is everyone else. Yeah.
America is, and I'm going to get unalived. I'm going to get deported for speaking like that, I guess. But
there's Chinese racists. You think it's worse here?
No, I mean,
we're definitely we have the recent history that's just every day. So
I don't think that there is racism everywhere.
I wonder what the least racist country is, because if it's a place that's just all white people and they're the least racist, I'm I don't know if that counts. If you don't have to deal with other cultures.
I don't know if there is a least racist country, but I'm sure there is a most racist.
I don't know how you would even measure that.
Oh, I just burped into the mic. I hope that
happens all the time.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Have to delete the whole podcast, but that's
maybe
fine.
Iceland. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
That's where my brain went. I was like, Sweden.
Which is a
wait
racist
a second.
thought.
Yeah.
That's a racism.
Right. But you can be racist against Nordic white people still, right? You can be. I'm joking. If you had to be racist against a group, I think a really well-to-do Scandinavian white country would probably be the best people to be racist against.
Listen, there are 4.3 black characters in Frozen, so they're doing...
And they're just in that Celtic culture for some reason?
They just get put in... in Bridgerton or in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
And it's never mentioned because I was adopted. It's just hey, that's just...
I'm for it.
That's my neighbor.
I'm for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of that's weird, but then if you don't have any black characters, that's weird. It's kind of how do you... It's just weird.
You know how you fix that? You include black people in all parts of the process, and then you listen to them when they say, hey, this looks a little funky. You listen to black people.
Yeah.
That's really what are we even talking about?
Well,
we need
rap music counts, right?
Yes and no. It serves its function in white supremacy. I'm not an expert. I'm just parroting the things that I've learned from black women.
Yeah, I'm joking. I was trying to think of the most opposite of let's have, a discussion about this Pixar movie we're making, and it's I listen
Soul.
I watch TikTok. I listen to black people.
I've been talking about this a lot lately because again, everything I watch is Disney. So the Soul movie with Jamie Foxx, and it's about a black character.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
2/3 of the movie is Tina Fey speaking out of the mouth of the black character, and the black character speaking out of the mouth of the cat. How is that not racist? I have issues.
Well, Tina Fey's a little bit black, isn't she?
No. I really do. This is the clip I want you to put out, that I'm angry at Soul for making the black character. Every black character in a Disney movie turns into an animal and speaks as an animal for the majority of the film.
And aren't they with their eternal souls are white or something too? Isn't it or blue?
In
Maybe it's
Soul,
blue.
They're blue.
Blue. Okay, so that's a little better than if it was but the soul's actually white.
That's not enough for me. And then I don't want to give it away. I don't want to spoil it. It's only been out 15 years.
If someone is an hour and 5 minutes in this podcast, they can have it be spoiled. Oh, I didn't know Soul was going to be ruined for me.
You need to put a disclaimer at the beginning of the...
If you're planning on watching Soul,
You should. It's a phenomenal film. I like.
Oh, so you like it though?
I do like.
That's interesting.
I like stories that are about reincarnation. I like exposing my son to
and
stories.
You feel like the fact that it was racist made it a little better, or?
If I was trying to avoid racism in my daily life, I'd probably just be. There's no way. I can point out racism to you everywhere. So I can't avoid it. So I'm just going to watch Soul.
Yeah.
And the things that I can do to... I mean, it's still a black movie about that got put out by Pixar. So
yeah. I mean, they're trying. And I guess like the discussion that we're having and that was the criticisms, maybe we're still... If there hadn't been a Soul, you know, it's like it brings up... It seems like a good dialogue, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't really even feel like I am qualified to say what's a good dialogue or not.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like it's good. I feel like everything we're saying is really good.
We were getting there, but now it's all just going to be
solving racism.
Nope, this whole thing is racist. The whole endeavor.
But we didn't lead off with it. We got into it towards the end.
We should probably do a land acknowledgement.
One thing I did want to ask you about in there, though, is you mentioned the collective unconscious, which I'm hugely fascinated in. Is that something that you're like, you get down with like Carl Jung and stuff like that? Are you into we have like shared memories, the hero's journey, all that kind of stuff? Is that something you?
I've not necessarily dug into Jung or any. I guess I like the Power of Now. What's that guy's name?
Heard of that.
Power of Now is good. I am a fan of the Four Agreements.
Oh, yeah.
Because, we don't think about the Four Agreements as... we think about them as what they are, the Four Agreements. Don't take anything personally. I don't want to name all four of them. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always do your best.
Always do your best. Don't take anything personally. I can't remember.
It's kind of all you need. If you could really do those four.
There's four. But what is the function, right? Like, not just do those four, but what happens when you do all four? You reach nirvana. And nirvana is not something that is far from you or unattainable by any means. So if you can master the Four Agreements, you achieve nirvana, essentially placing you in the present moment, where you'll be clued in immediately to the fact that if you are having a worry about bills, that is a future problem. If you are concerned about something you maybe should or should not have said, that's a past problem. And it alerts you to being in the present moment at all times and noticing that you have no problems. You're fed, you are sheltered, you are, a comfortable temperature, you are hydrated, you have life, you have thought, you have health, relative health. So that's where I get down. And then when you're I think I lived in nirvana for 21 days once. When I finally...
That's a long time.
It was an amazing...
I don't think I made it for more than like an hour.
I could even tell when something went wrong. I was like, oh, that's going to knock me off my axis. And I never got it back. But I love that present moment thing still. And then once you're in the present moment, then you can actually be clued into meditation, tap into collective unconscious. I do believe I'm a pretty spiritual person in general. I believe a lot of the woo-woo stuff.
Yeah, I'm getting into it.
I even believe what we do on stage tends to be what I tap into psychic when I'm on stage sometimes.
Tap into psychic.
Oh, yeah.
What? Say a little more.
Well, like I said, I sort of touched on it. Like, I don't write a set list until I get there. That room has an energy.
Totally.
That is a group of people that are going to walk in as strangers and walk out as a collective. And, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I open before I get on stage, and I tap into the people in the room. And I'd love to do more of that. I'd even love to promote it as a psychic event once everything is ready. But once you claim it, then you have an expectation.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with everything you said about... I feel the same way. I think the word psychic, some people might be like, wait, what is this? I mean, maybe other people would be like, great, that's my favorite word. So it's hard to like label that kind of stuff. But I think... I totally believe in that, like the energy and that we're all kind of... I think that's why comedy is so big right now, is because the virtual is not... Like, there's chemicals being released, sharing the space and the air. And
we're alive in a very special time. I always want to remember where we are in space-time.
For the last 15 minutes of humanity, it's great. We got all this cool technology.
Yeah.
Our kids will get to be like 20 or 30.
I don't think it's an accident. Every single human being on the planet right now is here at this time for a reason. So I don't think anybody I come in contact with is by accident either.
Yeah.
Even just crowds or whatever. And then sometimes that's what I think is sort of scary when you get a audience member that is just not able to sit in the space with us.
Yeah.
And that's why they have a reaction.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting because we do really need to touch those people too. We're all poor together. Let's not forget. They have us fighting a culture war, constantly distracted by the culture war.
They really do.
To prevent us from remembering how poor we all together to rise up in the class war, which we are all a member of.
The fact that every of the recent election has been, I think it's like less than 1%. It's like somebody's like worked out that math. Like if you can keep it exactly split half down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like both sides, like we all want 90% of it are the same. We're like, we want our families to be safe. We want to have a good life.
Well, that was because of the end of the fairness doctrine back in the 80s when news broadcasts used to have to report the same opposite sides of an issue on the same program, equal airtime.
Yeah.
And then when the fairness doctrine was repealed by Bush, you notice in the patterns of the left and the right, those the charts used to converge. The opinions were different, but they would converge. And now the red and the blue, are just so separate. Will never come together. They've got us totally divided. And then when I hear people say things like, I just don't understand how they can still support him after all this. I don't understand how are they hearing the stuff that we're hearing and they still support him. I'm like, well, they're not hearing that. Actually, no one is
their
hearing
algorithms. For their Fox News is like they're seeing a whole different version of reality.
They're seeing a whole different version than you are, and no one is seeing the same version. No one is seeing the same thing. They're seeing the things that are tailored for them to see.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
And it's kind of like what we wanted at some point. It's like, I want to watch these commercials. I don't want to watch. There's only 3 channels.
We fed the algorithm.
And now it's like you can just look at whatever you want all the time. And it's like this fucking Black Mirror night. It's like, I don't think this is what we... And it's changing so fast. So it's just kind of like my kid goes to a charter school, my 13-year-old, and they're just like, every day they're just like, the planet's going to die tomorrow, all the plastic. Then she's just like, I'm just trying to like have a childhood. Like we all agree that these are problems, but it's like, sometimes I'm like, we just got to like relax and try to enjoy it too, Like,
well, the overwhelm is one of the functions. They want us to feel overwhelmed. They want us to feel helpless. They want us to feel...
Who's they though?
The powers, the 1%, the powers that be, the
ruling class,
the 1%, the people with the money.
Yeah,
they want us.
That sounds right.
Downtrodden, and
it's working.
Well, we're too busy, maintaining hours at work to keep roofs over our heads. And there's 2 times when people revolt. When they run out of food and they run out of shelter. And we're not far from that.
Yeah, I know. That does feel that way. You're just like at every traffic light intersection, you're like, it's got a little bit more than it was.
I'm back on the market now, too, as a single person. And I will say that it's refreshing because the person I was with was someone I disagreed with on a lot of this stuff. And I really did try my best to allow his disagreements to stretch me.
Like political stuff?
Yes, yeah. We're not on the same side. And I'm mad about that because that is not how he presented himself to me in the beginning. I found out later. And I'm not sure how much of it was intentional, but I don't want to get into that. It's more just that for the last few years, I have been sitting around listening and being exposed to the other side of what people get shown. And it does sort of shift it did stretch me a bit. I don't dislike Trump supporters as much as I used to. I don't dislike...
And they're not one thing. Trump supporters is a spectrum like anything. Like
I'm hearing what they're hearing.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to understand where they're coming from. And we have to. They're all people. We're all people. But can you really walk through life with someone you disagree with like that? I just don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough. Like... Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've never actually been like in a long-term relationship with somebody who's on the other side, and I feel like it didn't used to matter. Like it's just as much. Like now it's like,
well, like yeah,
people only hang out with people that are. I mean, I do think there's value. I mean, like being your life partner, that's like a one thing, but I do think that we should all have friends on the other side. That would help ease the situation. Is that like it's almost like now like you only hang out with people that are on your political side, and sometimes like I have a kid that's playing softball, and we'll go out to like Irwin and out to the rural areas, and it's like, whoa, this is like so obviously like very Trump, very red, but I kind of think it's good for us to be there and try to just have a good experience together. And if somebody comes in that's like very red and they come to a liberal comedy show, as long as they're well behaved and respectful, it's like I want them there, because I think we shouldn't be siloing ourselves.
I want there to be a unity amongst citizenry, and I don't have ill will in the world for anyone. But the danger that we face when we don't name what's happening, where when you align yourself with this thing, you also align yourself with Nazism and authoritarianism and fascism. Not naming it only helps that cause.
Yeah, the silence can, the shame and the Brene Brown, like the not naming things can cause more like
it's true
shit mold to grow.
But at the same time, I have so many different things I want to say, that I've thought of, and I can't think of like which thread to go in.
We just embrace. You don't even have to. We embrace the tangent here. You know, it's all one.
Well, there's a reason. So now that I'm like trying to talk to people again, and I'm like, well, who are you? I don't even really want to keep talking if we get to a certain wall, and the wall might even start at I don't care about politics. I'm like, well, okay, well, at the very least we're probably not going to get along.
Really? If somebody's like, I'm not a political person?
If a man says I don't do politics, what that means is I'm not going to tell you my true opinion about it. In a dating capacity.
Okay. You think it's like, it's a lie, and they're concealing that they're like...
They'll say, I don't care if I didn't vote for Trump, but Biden. And then they'll speak more ill about Biden than they will about Trump. Yeah. I don't really care for Trump, but Biden, but her emails. And then you're like, oh, okay. And men know that it's not, and they know that it's not attractive to, I think, to a lot of women. But yeah, I don't do politics. It must be a luxury for politics to be an option. That's not to say you couldn't take me to the beach.
With all that 1% money.
Oh, but then I'm gonna be there like, yeah, I don't feel like myself. This is going well, but I don't feel like myself.
This is the multi-marketing.
Yeah.
It's the quadrant of,
yeah,
this is going well for them.
You know what else?
But I'm not being true to myself.
No, but I am enjoying this Mai Tai. I just got distracted thinking about a Mai Tai.
No, it's good. Nice. I mean, part of what this is for me is like, we go into like just weird spaces, and it's like it can be fun, or it can be uncomfortable, or it can be like incoherent, but like similar to you talking about like the New York mics, or like your ex like helping you with a joke. Like I find later on a lot of the things we talked about will like make more sense, or they'll even manifest as a new joke idea or something, like, or help me get more clear on how I do actually feel. Whereas on here, I can be kind of just recklessly like just navigating. It's like we're jamming and we're in a new key, and it's like we're just kind of throwing out ideas. So it's like it doesn't really need to be coherent.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
But it often is. But then it goes back into just like weird. And I like all of it.
It's like a conversation.
It's a jam.
But I don't mention being a comic on any dating stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
As soon as they find out I'm a comic, then we're having a conversation about comedy, and I have enough of those with comedians.
And I bet every one of those conversations eventually like quickly becomes like, I've been thinking about doing stand-up.
Oh, you're a comic? I'm so funny.
I haven't done it yet, but I'm a dude. I mean, clearly I should.
Yeah.
Do they start explaining stand-up to you?
They'll be like, oh, show me a set. Like, let me see. I got to judge for myself. No, you don't.
Yeah.
This is something I didn't miss with dating. It happens every once in a while. A guy will comment like, oh, you're smart. I'd be like, yeah, you just got here. I knew I was smart. I already knew that.
Yeah. Like
thank you for acknowledging how smart I am.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing. Because I was over here about to stick this knife into this socket until you pointed out that I was smart.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, a man said I'm smart, so that makes me feel good. Like it can feel kind of patronizing, or
it's like this. It's like an acknowledgement that I didn't need, that they didn't. Thank you for noticing, but you're the one that's new. I already knew I was smart. It's not new information that I'm smart.
Yeah.
You just are noticing.
Yeah, and you don't really decide who's smart.
No.
Like,
you don't get to decide who's smart. You're going to love me being smart. You're going to hate it when I'm questioning your belief structure.
This smartness is about to get real dark.
Yeah. So tell me about how much capital gains tax you paid last year.
I think the real shitty guys, though, like they would never like that you're smart. Like they would hate it from the get-go. That would be a...
I feel like they like guys that are drawn to me. They want a powerful woman, and they either want to get up under my power or they want to have power over it.
Yeah. Power's tough. Power's a tough one in relationships.
Power dynamics. I'm very interested.
It's almost like a good set. Having a good set. We're talking about how rare that is. Like having a good power dynamic, the glass with somebody where you like manage that together. That's how often do you see that?
I like power dynamics because I like how trust and communication is required for a non-power dynamic type of relationship. And then when you add power dynamics, the trust and communication that comes with that is elevated even more, because on the outside looking in, they all look abusive. So the way that you can, there's many ways to make it work. And I really love power dynamics, but knowing about power dynamics doesn't stop you from falling prey to unhealthy situations.
Yeah.
Being aware of abusive tactics like I am didn't stop me from becoming a victim to them.
Yeah.
They're just as effective if you're aware of them.
Yeah, you can know things, but then not when you're in it. It's like, yeah, it can be very confusing. I relate to that. And
I'm still coming out of it. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm only a few months out of it, and I'm only naming it now because not naming it is only beneficial to the oppressor.
Right, yeah.
So I want to name it and say that even though that stuff happened, I'm still interested in power dynamics. But what I don't like is what we know about abuse is that it's based in entitlement. So what I like about power dynamics is that there's consent involved. So if somebody has the propensity to feel entitled to another person, that's one thing. But if they've been given consent to wield some of that power, it actually is lending power from the bottom. So there's still the same and equal amount of power. And that way it's good to be powerful.
Yeah.
It's good to show your power. But I don't know, like guys that tend to be gravitated towards me tend to be far less powerful. And then I end up like going for that just because far more powerful is not often found.
Yeah.
Or if it is found, it's found with a greater sense of entitlement than the power dynamic that I'm interested in.
Yeah, because you don't want like a weak person. Like,
I like all kinds of people.
Yeah.
I don't think people that are interested, that have far less power, are weak. I think they just, I don't know. I like people. I don't care. I'm not interested. I'm more interested in a person.
Yeah.
Than I am how much power they have.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't like power. I don't like anyone telling me what to do, and I don't like to tell anyone what to do. But then, like, being a dad, it's just like, God damn, you gotta like be in charge of people, and I mean, just it's a tricky thing to navigate. I would prefer to sidestep all of it, but I can't.
Right.
So that's challenging.
You're raising a human. You have there are power dynamics inherent in parenthood.
Yeah. And it's like I've never been the decide for somebody else what's safe for them. But now I've been doing it for 13, 14 years. So it's like
they haven't died yet.
But I'm still not. Yeah, they haven't died yet. But
you don't even have to watch them all the time like I do, or get someone else to do it.
We just got to the point where we can like go out and leave them home for like a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, it took 13 to 14 years, but. It's pretty sweet. As long as you don't have the second kid and you reset it, don't like when your kid is 5, don't forget, because like your drugs in your body make you go, oh, I may want a baby, and it's great. Now we're doing all this fun stuff, and then you reset the clock, and then you have 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm seeing people with a 2 under 2 or 3 under 3 or 5 and a 2, 5 and a... no, thank you. I'm good. It's just gonna be the one.
I love my kids. So no, I'm not.
We love our kids.
Yeah.
Don't. Except for that one dry bar joke that I'm sure is in there.
But it's clean. Christian clean.
Christian.
I actually have to sign off because I have to be at a meeting.
Yeah.
We've done about hour 25.
Totally.
We did it.
We sure did.
We went a lot of fun places.
Yes.
And some other places that were maybe not as fun, but I think still worthwhile.
I would come back and do racism the whole time.
Let's do it.
I would. I'm unafraid.
All right.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.